everyone. So I'm constantly being asked, how do I get my Hobonichi into rings? I also get asked very often how I took my Scribbles That Matter notebook and took the cover off of it. So this one is just a clear cover. This was actually a piece of plastic from a bag that had sheets in it from Walmart and a food saver machine that I stuck the pages together with. So I'm going to show you how I uncover a book so that I can stick it inside of rings. Now, if you're looking to uncover this, I'll try and show you how I did this versus how I did this, because I did these two a little bit differently. I cut down this way instead of trying to peel up the edge. If you're thinking about doing a Hobonichi, the pages are thinner. That's very true. A couple of mine have ripped because I am not gentle on my pages. I flip them, I turn them, I packed this decently full. It was a little bit fuller than this even. And the bottom is where I get the issues because I have the charms at the bottom. So it's thicker, so it's a little bit harder to turn. So the only thing you need to be careful of, if you are going to unbind your Hobonichi for rings, be aware that you need to not stuff it tight. You should not have a ton of items in there because turning the pages, see like that one crinkled, you're going to run the risk of ripping them, honestly. And you also need to be careful when you punch them that you're punching in far enough so that it's not going to cause any problems and you're going to be able to flip easily. I took out, this one started in, I think, March and then went to March of next year, I think is what it was. I don't know for a fact. But so what I did was I took out, I only left in 2018, so I took out all the rest of 2019, all the notes pages. I left the back cover because I liked that it was a little bit thicker than just leaving this last page. I felt like it gave it a little bit of strength, and I wanted the pockets on it because when it was bound, I had already put the sticker on it and some pockets on it, and I wanted to keep that because a lot of the stickers that I had on there had meaning when I put them on there, so I wanted to be able to see them. So I'm going to show you how I did this. So first, I will not be using a Hobonichi. I'm not uncovering 2019's Hobonichi. So I don't have that in yet. So I'm just going to be showing you on a Scribbles That Matter journal, which is this one as well that I did. So this is an A5 Scribbles That Matter. Now, it might be a bit harder because of the rivet in it this time, and the rivet was not in my last Scribbles That Matter journal. So if you are going to uncover it, so I have this. This is just a regular X-Acto knife. I don't know if the slice tool would work to save the back cover so that you could do what I did and make a plastic cover for this. So I would recommend the X-Acto knife if you're going to try and save the cover. So when I try and save the cover, what I do is I get my knife in between the fake leather and the cardboard that is stuck on the back. And I just slide down. Be very careful if this slips. I mean, technically you shouldn't pull towards yourself, but I do. I know it's not safe, but I do. If you're smart, if you're not me, you will pull away from yourself because that's the intelligent thing to do if your knife is going to slip. But I don't know. I find it a little bit harder to work the knife when I'm pushing it away. So I just loosen up the edge. And remember, this is if you want to save this back cover. I did not save this cover with my Hobonichi, so I did not use this technique when unbinding my Hobonichi. So see how I've got the whole edge lifted up on this? Almost. Hang on. Here we go. See, and that's why it's hard once you get down there once you get here, it's easier to pull towards you than it is to cut away, but okay. So I got that done. And it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to look amazing. It's glued on there. As you can see, there's a ton of glue holding all this on there because it's supposed to hold up. So it's not going to look great. Then I just have a crappy ruler. I actually don't use this ruler at all. I like the tip on it to kind of like go in and cut. So I kind of just slide this under to get everything loosened up. And then I pull this off. So that is how I uncover it if I'm wanting to save this. Now the reason I did this was because I wanted to switch my cover out for other times of the year, for different occasions. I actually put it in a traveler's notebook, so I put the elastics behind it. And the way you would slide this off is you just open it and slide it out, and then you slide the paper in and then put your booklet back in. So that's one option. Another reason to uncover it is if your book is just too thick with the cardboard on it, or with the way they bind it, you can take this off. I actually, let me pull up the other one, I'll show you. So this is my other A5 that I unbound. This is just a paper bag. I liked the thin cover. I didn't want a thick cover. I wanted something that was unique to me. This is a laminated plastic bag. I cut it out, I glued it to this, I cut out a spine, and I taped it. It's just taped on, and then I glued out the back. This is last year starting in May. Yes, so this is a May start. And I have tossed it around, I have thrown it around, I have taped pages in it, I have taken pages out of it. And it has held up. So just this and covering it has held up perfectly fine. So that is how I uncover it to save the page. If I am not saving the page, what I did was I did not use an X-Acto knife. I didn't need the longer tip that I liked for the other one. So I took my slice tool and right on the crease of the binding, I simply slid it down. And try and be careful in case you slip. You want to slip towards this, not towards this, because I saved my cover. So once that is done, it is fully uncovered now. Now, if you, like I said, if you saved the cover, I mean, you can just throw this away. You don't need this for anything. I don't know if anyone would want to try and glue in another booklet or anything like that. It's easy enough to do if you want to, but I'm just going to throw mine out. It's just going to go in the trash. So once this is off, if you are planning on putting it in rings, all I did was take the page markers out of the pages, and I used the page markers that come on the books, and I peeled. So that took off that and the glue versus trying to peel it up this way. It makes it a little bit more difficult. Then I take the piece of fabric strap down here and I just peel that one down. After that, I just kind of take the book, split it in half, and then I just rip it. Now make sure where you're ripping it, like that one's not right. I tried to find where two sections, so when they sew the pages together, you can kind of see where they glue the pages together. That's where I try and start the rip. That way I'm not like going in too much. And then that, you'll see the thread, and I cut it down. The reason I do it this way is because I don't want to try and slice, because this is stitched together. I don't want to just try and slice straight down and end up cutting a bunch of the pages up. So that's why I do it that way. And then I just slowly go through, and you have to do the other ones. Now, for me, I just pull, but I try and do it somewhat careful so it just pulls straight out so that it just comes right out. It all just depends. I trim the edges off mine. If you don't want to trim it, you're probably going to have to take this step a lot more careful, and you're going to have to go one by one where all the sections are and cut them singularly. So that means you'll have to go through every single one of these and cut them, because then these strings are just going to keep ripping. I mean, I guess you could try and go in and get all these little things cut. I've never tried it that way, personally. There's a little bit of glue on this one. Let me see. Let's see if that way works. Get this glue off. So, I guess if you can get the glue off, and then you can separate it that way, and then you won't have to rip the, like I did. I ripped, but I take mine apart that way. So see, then it would just kind of like flow apart. So I guess it's just kind of preference on whether you want to trim the back pages or not. For me, I planned on trimming the where it's folded, because I don't like trying to flip pages and having them all still kind of connected. So that's where it's going to kind of all go out to preference on how you want to do it. Yeah, if you do it that way, then it just kind of starts to unravel because it's all sewn together. And then it's not ripping the pages, but I don't do it that way. So anyways, so once you get, once you start unbinding it by splitting them and cutting the bindings, then you're good to go. You just need smaller sections of paper. So then I take out, this I just got at Michael's. It's a simple paper cutter. You can use any kind. And I get it as close to the edge as I can to where it's still going to cut. And I just slide it along. And this is why your sections need to be just a little bit thinner, because it won't go all the way through otherwise. So then once that's done, it separated all the pages, which is the only reason I do this step. If you don't care if your pages are together, then there's no reason to trim them. And then I just hole punched it for whatever hole punch you plan on putting this in, whether you want to put it in an arc notebook or rings. But that is how I unbind my books. I would make sure that you have a nice clean blade when cutting them apart. If you don't want to cut them, as you can see from what I just did with the stitching on them, they really just, I mean, you can just rip it right off. You can, if you don't have a cutting tool, if you don't want to use scissors, I mean, it's, they'll tear down fairly easy and separate. And then after that, it's just a matter of punching it with whatever punch that you're planning on using and getting it bound into your book. So that's how I unbind my books based on what I am using them for. If you have any questions, comment down below and I can answer them for you. I hope that this helps you guys unbind your books so that you can use them how you would like. And I'll see you guys next time.